Greetings, everyone. So, of course this is recorded like this because this was before I decided to even make a YouTube video, but this was one that got messed up and deleted and restarted, but I at least wanted to show my process of how I did this before I knew how to do anything. So you can see here, I started labeling on top of the main mango, which is in this case is the body of this giraffe. So you can see the front and then the back half are labeled as two different things. This is for me to keep track of leg movement of where it is, which will correlate to how the body is angled. Either the hips are up or the shoulders are up whenever they're taking a step. What I didn't know was that giraffes in particular are hard to animate because their legs do two different walking motions. So you have your back leg, which kind of does a shuffling motion, and then you have your front legs that do a complete like bend knee stretch and over and whatnot. So you can see after I had finished with the idea of how it's gonna move, I started adding in more of the fine-tuned drawing of how the legs are supposed to look, the tail, the neck, and the weird like shoulder bump that it has. And you can also see at the corner that I had a reference of not only a giraffe walk cycle to help me, but also like to see what the legs look like in that position. So here I used a lot of copying and pasting for this instead of drawing it over and over again. And you can see here I realized the legs do different motions because I was like, this leg doesn't bend right. Like you could tell the way it's angled, it's much different than the front leg, so it has to bend it differently. So it limits the giraffe to just doing a shuffle on the back, which is hard because a shuffle you can make that go really quick, but then a legitimate like full step could take more frames. So the timing of this definitely made it more difficult and whatnot. But I still had the general idea of effect and affect. So you could see that I was waving the tail and the ears every time it walked to show that like it was bouncing almost. And you can see, yep, there's me like swaying the tail a little bit and also adjusting the legs to make it look more correct. I would say this first attempt that I did a lot better at the drawing. But it's been so long I can't even tell if the animation was better, because I did a bit more of the arches and timing guides with the second one when I remade this. And this was simply just from a challenge of like making something come to life, and whether if it was something that I had in my head or I was like, somebody give me a fruit, that I chose to do a mango and to make it a giraffe and whatnot. And you can see here I added in shading, constantly checking your animation to make sure it is smooth and looks right, because if it doesn't look right, then that means there is something wrong. in retrospect, because I would say people are a lot better at observing than they think. Because there's generally a reason why something doesn't look right, whether if it's moving too stiff and there's not emotion or gravity in your animation, and whatnot. And then a lot of times like this, they're walking like they're not supposed to. Yeah. You can see here I am redoing some bits and pieces. Again, constantly checking your work and readjusting. That is a really good thing to do, is to fix your work instead of being lazy and whatnot. And I like to do a very simple thing of just shading the back legs and whatnot and calling it good. And then here, I guess I didn't record drawing on all the spots, but here I am coloring everything. I'm sure there's an easier way to color those all in. I haven't found it yet, because the coloring process takes absolutely, positively forever. Okay. Sorry, I got cut off. The coloring process takes absolutely forever. And you can see here, I'm working on adjusting the spots and everything, which became a bit difficult the more the leg like moved and bent, because skin is flexible. Yes, that's good and bad. It makes animating stuff like spots on skin a little difficult, because it moves and warps whenever like the arm and the legs are extending and squishing and whatnot. If you like look at your knuckles with your hands open, you can see all the wrinkliness on your knuckles, but then it stretches when you make a fist. So that kind of idea was, was a bit difficult. And then here, I really wanted to capture kind of like the realism of what a giraffe was kind of like colored in, so I made the point of having the inside colored and everything. So in next video, we'll kind of look at how I did the animation differently.